Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are on our Star Wars run and we are reviewing Star Wars Attack of the Clones, which when it came out, a lot of people had a lot to say about it.
A lot of people still have a lot to say about this movie. Overall, I think that this is a good movie. I am a huge fan of the Clone Wars era, and it's my favorite. It is my favorite part of Star Wars is the Clone Wars era, and this really starts it. That being said, some of the dialogue is cheesy and a little lame at times, but I still found this to be an enjoyable movie. It's not the best of the prequel movies, but it's Star Wars, and I'm always gonna have fun. I like going to go see the other planets. The lightsaber fights are always good, and seeing a lot of the interaction and the wit between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker is so much fun. It is my favorite part of the Clone Wars is just watching them together, and then later watching them with Ahsoka together and how they interact. And in this really depressing time in this wartime era, they're still keeping light humor, keeping each other's spirits, and I think seeing that here is just amazing. And it really sucks because a lot of deleted scenes were cut from this movie and from Revenge of the Sith. It was even more banter, and I really wish we were able to see more of that.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I have my issues with this movie as well, as I think the majority of people do, but I do really love this movie. It's, again, as Griffin said, it's in the Clone War era, which is my favorite era. You see the creation of the Clone Army, which, if you are a fan of Star Wars, in the original Star Wars, you only ever hear hints about the Clone Wars, like, Leia mentioning Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke talking about how his father didn't fight in the Clone Wars, and I always wondered what the Clone Wars were. Here are the Clone Wars. And yes, there's a little bit of cheesy dialogue, and but I'll defend it the same way George has defended it. It's essentially a love story in the backdrop of a war. So of course there's going to be cheesy one-liners. And for all the people that attack Hayden Christensen, they're like the way he was looking at Padme, the way that he would like always try to be with her. Every guy on the planet that would have spent half of that amount of time with Natalie Portman would have looked at her the exact same damn way and would have tried to get with her just as much as Anakin. And I'll add to that. You have to understand, he met her when he was 9 years old and he fell in love with her. This is the only woman he's ever wanted to be with. And now he has a chance to go on a romantic getaway with her. You guys do the same shit.
Yeah, he's completely head over heels in love and obsessed with her. Of course, he's gonna give her the puppy dog eyes and say those really cheesy things. It makes total sense. And like Edward said, anyone in that situation will probably do the same thing. Yeah, it does get a little bit of leeway there. This movie and George Lucas's writing of just setting up things in the background with these one-liners and not even necessarily explaining it, but just talking about like Sifo Dyas, Tyrannus, and just setting up in the background and just kind of be like a throwaway line and then coming back later or going back to it later in Clone Wars, I think is really well done. And he really does have a massive universe set up that we're only seeing a glimpse of that he hints at in just these one lines. I think it's just amazing. He did a great job, and a lot of people have grown up with Star Wars. People are still growing up with Star Wars, and frankly, that's something that very few people have created can say.
I'll say what I have issues with in this movie. So one of my biggest issues is that Padme, when she sees Anakin, she's head over heels for him too, but she tries to resist, and she keeps telling him at every point, no, no, you gotta be a Jedi, I gotta be a senator, blah blah blah. And when they have dinner, she wears the sexiest fucking dress she had in her entire wardrobe. And Star Wars fans, we know Padme has an extensive wardrobe, and tells him no. And like any guy, the only thing Anakin is noticing is her dress. So that didn't make any sense. We're told he's the greatest pilot in the galaxy, and this movie never puts him in a starship, which I thought was a mistake. I love George. I love Star Wars. I think Anakin, we should have seen him in a starship, maybe at the end battle instead of. And I understand getting his arm cut off by Dooku. I don't have a problem with that because a lot of people are like, well, he shouldn't have lost to Dooku. First of all, he's a Padawan.
He definitely should have lost to Dooku. 100 times he's gonna lose to Dooku.
Second of all, Count Dooku, we're told throughout this movie that he's the greatest lightsaber duelists that there is. He would have fucked up Mace Windu. Yoda barely handled him. So of course Anakin was going to get his ass handed to him by him. That's not my issue. My issue is the greatest star pilot in the galaxy, and we never see him. Yes, we see him pilot Padme's ship, but that doesn't show me that he's the greatest pilot in the universe. I wanted to see that. Other than that, there's romance. Anakin, we see him, he's a Padawan. I love to see that balance between Obi-Wan, more mature, being the father figure, and Anakin being this rebellious teen who just wants to break free. I love seeing that. I didn't care to see Yoda fight. I still don't.
I actually think it was important to see him fight there because it set up the Revenge of the Sith for just how much more powerful the Emperor was. So I do think that was important there.
One of the things that I really loved was seeing the planet where the clones get created, seeing the
Yeah,
clones in production, seeing the clones like march and all of that. Even Obi-Wan's like, wow, what the hell's going on here? And then at the one of the end battles is seeing not all the Jedi, because I know in some interviews George says all the Jedi. That's not all the Jedi. That's like 200 Jedi. I have the Star Wars visual dictionaries, and it from episode one it says that there's in this era there's around 10,000 Jedi active. So he took a group of like 200. But I like seeing that. I've always wanted to see a battle where there's several hundred Jedi doing their thing. To me, honestly, they got their asses kicked a little bit.
they did, 100%.
They get, we get sold on this idea that Jedi are like U.S. Marshals that they go around enforcing the law. They kind of got their asses kicked by these little buttered droids real quick. But then you get to see the clones come in.
Well, yeah, the thing with that is, I think at the time of Phantom Menace, yeah, I would agree with you. There are these high elite warriors, but given that the war started, they need to. The Republic wants more and more Jedi, and the Order needs more and more Jedi in order to keep quote unquote keep peace. And so I think they had to send out a lot more Jedi that were probably not as prepared as they should have been, and half of those probably were Padawans, if not more than half.
Yeah, but that also strikes my point. Like Mace Windu, when they're at the Senate, they make the decision that Yoda's going to go to Kamino to get the clones, and Mace is going to take a group of Jedi to go to Geonosis to free Obi-Wan and start the battle. Mace Windu's a Jedi Grand Master. He sits on the council. He couldn't have made the better decision of saying, "Hey, I'd love to take all of you, but you know what? I really need some. I need the majority to be masters because this is gonna be tough." No, he takes, and you're right. You could see it in the battle. There's a couple hundred Padawans that are getting their asses kicked, but and I get it. George had to make that decision. Look, I need the Jedi to seem vulnerable because there needs to be an excuse as to why the clones jump in there. When the clones show up, they start fucking shit up.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fair. But like we said, overall, this is a pretty good movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. There are some things that we just tend to forgive given the nature of Star Wars, but it's still fun. If you want to go in having fun or enjoy Star Wars in general, you're gonna have fun during this movie, and it's really hard not to have fun watching Star Wars.
100%. I agree with you. And I love the way Anakin looks. I love how distinct his Jedi robes are from everyone else. Everyone else is so light. He's dark, hinting at what is going to happen in the third movie. I love how Ewan McGregor's slowly starting to look like Sir Alec Guinness with the beard. And I absolutely adore Natalie Portman in everything she does. To me, I have a lot of crushes on actresses, as you can see from our videos, but Natalie Portman's always been the most beautiful woman on the planet to me, her and Gal Gadot. And she's endearing to me as Leia and Luke's mom. She sells me on it, man. She's just such a great actress.
And one thing you can be very happy to know about this movie, there's a lot less Jar Jar Binks, which is a win every day.
I agree.
Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think about this movie. And we'll see you guys next time.
Take care, guys.